We are here. It is the Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend. It is the second week of OTAs. It's not training camps yet. We're kind of dealing with the scraps. We haven't gotten the main course yet. But a lot's already happened since the NFL calendar flipped. The biggest news being that DeAndre Hopkins, who was supposed to be traded this offseason, supposed to be traded before the draft. There was rumors that he would stay on the Cardinals for the whole entire season. DeAndre Hopkins has been released from Arizona. He is now a free agent. There are a lot of conflicting reports that he's going to go ring chasing. He's going to secure the bag. So, guys, I'm curious. Where do you think DeAndre Hopkins is playing in 2023?
I am going with the Buffalo Bills. I know it's one of the two, more rumored spots that we keep seeing with him. Obviously, the Bills already have Stefon Diggs. They've got their wide receiver one. You've just brought in Kincaid. You've got Dawson Knox. You've got some nice tight end weapons. But outside of Diggs, there's really nothing going on in that wide receiver room to really keep defensive coordinators up at night. I think pairing him with Stefon Diggs, with some of those tight ends and other wide receivers, really gives that Bills a different dynamic that they've been lacking over Josh Allen's time in Buffalo. So I'm going with the Bills. Probably going to be a 1-year deal. I don't see how anyone's going to give him more than that right now. I think he kind of needs to reset his market. But a 1-year deal to Buffalo Bills, I don't know. That seems enticing in terms of the money he can get and the potential to get a ring there.
Keegan, are you with Aiden? You think he lands on the Bills?
I don't actually. I'm going to give you guys maybe more of a dark horse, but who says no to the Lions? The Detroit Lions.
I thought you were going to say Jets.
No.
I thought you were going to say the Jets.
No. I think the Jets could make it work with some quick releases and moving around to the cap. But that's the other thing. I'm looking at cap space, and the Chiefs and Bills, who seem to be the projected favorites right now, just from all the talk out there, they don't have a lot of cap space for this year, so they'll have to do some cap gymnastics to make it work. But a team that could use a wide receiver build like DeAndre Hopkins is the Detroit Lions, and they've got about $23 million in cap space right now. They don't have to go through hoops or anything like that to make it work with the money. I also think with Jameson Williams sidelined for 6 games for sports betting, you're kind of left with one of our favorites, obviously, Sun God, and they've got the new rookie tight end, Sam Laporta, but they just don't have that kind of physical go up and grab it wide receiver that can play on the outside and win contested catches for you right now. They are a little bit slimmer on the wide receiver room than some of these other teams that I think the Lions are slimmer in their wide receiver room than the Bills are, to be honest. So I think that's a good dark horse candidate that I would actually like to see him go to. And I don't think it would have a massive fantasy impact, a negative one on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You mean Amon-Ra St. Brown wouldn't get taken off the field in 2 wide receiver sets?
That's the point of offseason we're in, Sean. We're already hearing the speculation that he'll get removed from wide receiver 2 sets, but I digress.
That's
the lines make a ton of sense, though. I'm just curious how DeAndre Hopkins sees the lines in terms of because I know he listed a handful of things he wants, an established QB who likes playing, you want a defense, you want a stable GM. And I think they have a lot of those things. It's just, does DeAndre Hopkins see the Lions how a lot of us do as someone who's really ready to compete now? I think that's maybe the biggest hurdle there. But yeah, the money's there. The targets are there. Like you said, I think it's a really good dark horse pick, Keegan.
I like the Lions. The Bills make a ton of sense because he's basically begged the Bills to sign him. He's like, Bills, come and get me. I'd love to play for Josh Allen.
Yeah. Who wouldn't, Nuke? Who wouldn't?
My favorite artist is Drake. I love Drake.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, yeah. I just have to go to the Taylor Swift concert. Okay, really original. I think realistically the one that makes a ton of sense, both for a football and fantasy perspective, and it's the one that I think Albert Breer came out and said was most likely, is him going to Kansas City. We were texting about this over the weekend, and we were talking about some of the worst wide receiver rooms in the NFL. And you would never think it because the Chiefs have Travis Kelce and because Patrick Mahomes can just make any receiver good. But you could make the argument that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is by far and away the best wide receiver right now on the Chiefs. We all love Toney. We're Toney bros. But, I mean, come on. Toney's we'll get to it later in the episode. But It is
we'll get to
suspect
him.
at best. Toney is suspect at best.
More-
Like, I love Skyy Moore as much as the next guy, but that wasn't that impressive of a rookie season. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling is like the most established receiver in that room. And MVS played well down the stretch, but I think that's more of a product of being in an offense coached by Andy Reid and quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes. And I just think he's such a slam dunk, bringing that offense with Travis Kelce. Sure, they might win in kind of the same. No, I mean, I guess Nook can win outside, win deep. Nook's more of like a DeAndre Hopkins, more of a possession receiver at this point in his career, but I think Kelce could play well with anybody. And they have Toney and Moore to complement his intermediate game, to take deep shots and spread the floor and have gadget plays, right? So I think just stylistically for fantasy, I think you put him in that Juju role and he would thrive. And I think overall for that offense, like Patrick Mahomes wheels up. That's just another reason to be like Mahomes is going to win MVP again and throw 50 touchdowns. I think it'd just be huge for him. I like the Chiefs. I like the Bills. I like the Lions, but I think the Chiefs just make a ton of sense.
Yeah, I just don't know how they make that work with the money. But then again, I'm not a cap guy. Never been a cap guy. Don't think I'll ever be a cap guy.
Look at the Saints. The Saints are always like minus 40 before the season, and
Tough.
There's so many ways to manipulate.
If he truly wants to go to a contender, he's got to take a pay cut from what he thinks he should have. Like, who is he going to make more money than OBJ? Do you think he gets more money than OBJ?
He should.
He should.
He should.
Will he?
He should.
Is the question, because
We'll
these
see.
teams like the Bills and the Chiefs, like that would be a lot of gymnastics to make him have the money available for what OBJ got.
Yep.
The Bills and the Chiefs are in a good position though because they can add void years to the end of their QB's contracts and do the whole cap chicanery, and it's easy to do that when you have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes because they're like, you guys aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like we're good. You guys are like 28. We're really happy. It's like taking out a second mortgage. And when you're in a good financial position and you love your wife and you're like, or your partner, we're in a good spot. I'm not losing my income.
Right.
You're not going anywhere. Like, let's do it. We double down. It's a little risky, but hey, we can take the risk. That's kind of what it would be like for the Chiefs to do some cap chicanery and create some room by, adding void years or, kind of playing around with Mahomes' contract to make it happen. So I think eventually it does happen, but you're right, Keegan. I think Hopkins may have to wait it out a bit, considering that his market isn't as probably hot as he thinks it should be.